Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It's Grace here, and in today's tutorial, I'm going to be talking about aesthetic lighting in Cinema 4D and Octane render. Now, this is basically a tutorial on how I do it. There's a lot of other tutorials that can teach you a lot of cool tips and tricks, but this is just how I make my own scenes. And without further ado, let's just hop right into it. So as you can see here, we made I already have a set up nightclub scene complete with Greek statues and palm trees and geometric shapes. So if we go out here, you can see that I have two area lights pointing directly at the center of interest in my scene. And if I hit the light tag, you can see that it is a blue and pink color combo. Now, when it comes to aesthetic lighting and any aesthetic piece in general, there is always a warm and cool color gradient that I think has become the bread and butter of anything aesthetic related, like vaporwave aesthetic related. Now, how I created these lights in here is I opened up my Octane dialog right over here. I already have it open down here. I hit objects and I hit area light. And just like that my light has popped up and it is bright. How I change the settings of this is I hit the light tag and I go to a really low power, like say 9. That's my go-to number for the power. And I want to make the light pink in this case. So I'm going to hit that little play button. I'm going to hit C4D Octane, and I'm going to go down here to RGB spectrum. And I'm going to do the same for distribution. Now, if we hit right in here, I'm going to saturate the white into like that much. That controls the saturation if you didn't know. And I'm going to hit like a nice hot pink. And then I'm going to do the same over here. And that's how we make it. I'd say for any big scenes like this, you just really need to, bring the size of that light up to make it reach more areas. And that's how I make the area light. So I don't need this one because I already made 2. Now, neon lights that I make are essentially just luminant geometry. So how I make the luminant material for the geometry is I go down back to my Octane render, I hit materials, and I create and diffuse material. And as you can see, it popped up right here. I'm going to double click that. I'm going to go to emission and I'm going to hit black body emission. Now, as you can see, it's way too bright right now and I need it to be way lower. So I'm going to hit surface brightness. And I'm going to bring the power down to about 5. 5 is a really good number for this. And to change the color, I'm going to do the same exact thing that we did with our Octane light tag. So I'm going to go to texture and then I'm going to hit that play button again. I'm going to go to C4D Octane, RGB spectrum. Down here, RGB spectrum. And for this one, I want to make it a nice baby blue. So I'm going to go that much saturation and I'm going to hit like right around here. So it's going to look really nice once we put it on that geometry. So yeah, like that's perfect. That's usually what I go for. So we're going to click out of that. And then to make the geometry luminant with that now neon texture, I'm just going to click, hold, and drag it onto the geometry that I want. So for example, I'm dragging it onto these neon columns. That little ring right there is what I want to be lit up. So now our scene is ready to render. If you want to take a look at my render settings in Octane, I can put that down in the description below. And you can take a quick look at that. That's just how I set up the high res and like to make it crisp essentially. So I'm just gonna hit the render button right here and we'll be back after this short break. Okay, everybody, welcome back. As you can see here, we have our finished render. And as we zoom in, we can see that it's pretty nice, really crisp, exactly what we want out of a render. Some specs here and there. However, in my next tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you how we can jazz this picture up. Now, it's really good for a raw render, but obviously we want it to make it more vibrant, maybe dark and moody. So the next thing I'm going to teach you is really simple. It's basically just how to wrap up and save this so we can bring it into Photoshop. Now all you're going to do is click this little floppy disk with a question mark here and then save as. Now it's going to save as TIFF by default. TIFF is a really good file format for raw renders. It's what I was taught in school, so I usually just use TIFF. And then we're going to hit OK, and then we're going to go right to the file in which we have our saved scene in. And I already have it saved, so I'm just going to hit cancel here. And yeah, that's all for today, folks. I really hope this tutorial has cleared up some things, and see you next time. Bye.